A very good morning to all the viewers and the webinar team. This is A. Ramprasad, Principal, Telangana Model School, Velimela, Arsipuram Mandal, Sangareddy District. It's my honor and privilege to introduce Mohammad HAFEEZ, postgraduate teacher in Political Science from Telangana Model School, Ganmukla, Veenavanka, Karimnagar District. As far as his academic profile is concerned, he has a wonderful academic record. He has done his masters from Usman University and he possesses BA degree also. He has a wonderful teaching experience of 22 years. He's in model school since 2013, the year from the year of inception. So as I received the inputs from his principal and others, he is really an example. His industry is actually laudable. So he has done a wonderful effort in carving a niche for his institution. He has got Best Teacher Award at the district level in 2018. Good luck to Mr. HAFEEZ for conducting this session. So I look forward for a number of sessions for the students of intermediate first year. The session which he's going to conduct today is organs of Indian government. So he's going to cover the first part of the session. The chapter will continue in the subsequent sessions also. Over to Mr. HAFEEZ for his session. HAFEEZ, you can start.
Unmute cheyaledu.
Good afternoon to everybody. Good afternoon to all the webinar team principals. And good afternoon to my principal, Dr. Venugopal Reddy, and my subject coordinator, Dr. Ramprasad Garu, and also other webinar principals, Garu, and all the model schools teachers. And also good afternoon to my beloved teachers and students. And today we are going to learn about the organs of government. It is the chapter which is explain about the different organs of government. In this first chapter, we are going to learn about the legislature. Okay, children. And the topics to be covered in this today's session, concept the organs of government. So first we are going to learn about the concept of organs of government, then theory of separation of powers, and then legislature. In the legislature, we are going to learn about the structure and the powers and functions. Maybe in the next sessions, we are going to learn about the executive and judiciary. In the same way, that we can learn about the structure, powers, and functions of the executive as well as the judiciary. Okay. And today's topic, especially the concept is the organs of government. I'm going to give the introduction to you. So government is actually the agent of the state, because without the government, there is no state. Okay, children. There is no state without the government. Government is actually the ruling and managing body. Okay, you are studying in the college, and in college you are seeing that there is a principal, there is a teachers and other staff, those who are managing your college. In the same way, our state means a country in the political science language. Okay, children. Then the government is like an agent and is a ruling managing body. And also government is the instrument of the state. Through this instrument, government expresses its will and also enforces and finally acts. So total action of the state is performing by the government. That's why government is calling as steering wheel of the state. Okay, you saw the different vehicles, like maybe the car, maybe the bus or truck. There is a steering wheel, and that steering wheel control the everything of that vehicle, maybe bus or car. In the same way, the government is just like a steering wheel of the state. So everything of the state is running by the managing by the government, and the government is generally used to denote the political organization of the state. So government is generally is the political organization of the state, and governments are of different kinds are there. Okay, so in the world from the ages past. The governments are the different kinds. Here some examples are giving to you. There is a types of government, like a democracy, like a monarchy, like a oligarchy, or dictatorship and anarchy. Okay, in the democracy, this is a modern form of government which we are following at present, even in our India also. Okay, and in democracy, the people are the rulers. It is ruled by the many people. There is a monarchy ruled by the one single person. All the supreme power is in the hands of a single person in the monarchy. Oligarchy is the rule of a few people. It is also like a aristocracy also. Okay, dictatorship, nothing but like a monarchy. It is the rule of a single person. Anarchy, nobody will be ruled, because in the rule, then okay, children, these are the different types of the governments. And it has been said that government is always existed in one form or other. So it is saying that government is always, from the since ages past, existed in one form or other with the different designations, Okay, and government is composed of the three organs. Government is composed of the three organs, conveniently, accordingly. So government has the three organs. These three organs are legislature, executive, judiciary. So these are the three organs of the government: legislature, executive, judiciary. Legislature makes the law and executive implement the law. Judiciary makes sure that the laws are obeyed. And these are the simple functions of three organs. Okay, in detail we are going to learn in the continuous session only. Okay, children, and also you can see the next slide. Here also given about the organs of government. Legislature, in simple word, makes the law. Okay, executive implements the law, and judiciary interprets the law. In simple words, legislature makes the law, executive implement the laws, judiciary interpret the laws. Okay, children, and first legislature. Today in total session, we are going to learn about the legislature, that is a law-making body. Okay, it will prepare the laws as per the needs, as per the requirements, or simply as per the will of the people. Okay, legislature example is given the Indian Parliament. Indian Parliament is a legislature, law-making body in our country. Okay, legislature is a supreme authority in democratic system. Because modern governments are democratic governments. In democratic governments, legislature is a supreme authority. Okay, it has vast legislative powers. It has the very, very vast legislative powers. For everything, it makes the law in the country. Okay, example, Indian Parliament. Okay, children, and now executive branch. Okay, there is a second, in simple introduction is giving about the executive branch. It is the second organ of the government. It is the most important of organ of government. Okay, children, and it has the real governmental powers. Generally, political philosophers are used to say that executive like a heart of the government. Okay, it is the government in action, but there cannot be state without executive. So government total action is showing by the executives. Law will be prepared in the parliament. Okay, in the legislature house. Okay, but it is implementing, carry out these laws by the executives throughout the country. In the executive branch, there will be a president and vice president also, cabinet position, that is a council of ministers, and staff members and the advisors, that is a employees, and also some independent establishments. Example, Indian president, vice president, and council of ministers. And third organ, it is also very important, judiciary. Judiciary is the third branch of the government. Just you can see the image of Supreme Court of India. It is the impartial arbitrator in the settlement of disputes between the government and people. So it is simply, it is a impartial arbitrator about the settlement of the disputes between the government and people. Not only government and people, people and people also, individual and individual also. All the disputes will be settled by the judiciary according to the existing laws. Okay. And now, theory of separation of power. These three organs are there. Three organs should have some powers. Is it or not, children? Okay, these three organs should have the different powers, and that powers, how it is distributed, that is we are going to learn in the theory of separation of powers. Modern governments are highly organized governments. You know about the modern states. Modern states are very vast. In areas they're big. Not only in area, population also very big. So this government should be highly organized one. And also the modern governments are popular governments. The power of governments are separate among these three organs. So the powers of government are separated among these three organs. And these three organs powers are separated, but they are interrelated to each one. Okay, these three organs also interrelated to one another. Sometimes they are independent of each other also. Sometimes they independent of the each other. They are interrelated to each other, and sometimes independent of the each other. And political philosophers like Cicero, Jean Bodin, John Locke wrote the number of treatises, number of books about the interrelationship of these three organs: legislature, executive, and judiciary of government. So they wrote the number of treatises, number of books, and everything is explained about the interrelationship of these three organs in that books. Okay, and among these famous philosophers, we are going to learn about the some great French philosopher Montesquieu. Montesquieu is a famous French philosopher who was born around in the 1728, and at the age of 20 years in the 1748, he wrote the book which is called The Spirit of Laws, on the political science, on the specially the organs of government. In that book, he had categorically stated the function of government and also how they are interrelated. So he described about these three organs of government in The Spirit of Laws. He's a great famous French philosopher, and his book, that is Spirit of Laws, and his other books become the model or source for to write the constitutions of the different countries. His ideas were included. Okay, and next one, a jurist, a Blackstone, a English jurist. He also explained about the relationship and separation of powers. A jurist, famous England jurist, a Blackstone, he explained the relationship and the separation of powers. Okay, and some we are going to learn about the some Montesquieu suggested. Children, listen carefully, follow it, because this topic is very important. Some important questions may come in annual exam also, so listen carefully. Okay, and Montesquieu suggested separation of powers among the three organs of government in a balanced manner. Say that he suggested he given the ideas about the distribution of power among these three organs in a balanced manner. And also he used to say that every organ must check the misuse of power of other organs. He used to say that misuse of powers of the other organs should be checked by the one another. Okay, and his theory, his Montesquieu theory, became the basis for American Constitution. While writing the American Constitution, framers of American Constitutions followed the procedures which is given by the Montesquieu. And also it is said that American Constitution is an essay on the theory of separation of powers. So political scientists, political philosophers are saying that American Constitution is an essay on the basis of this theory of separation of power of Montesquieu. Okay, and the constitution of many countries, including India, incorporated the ideas of, incorporated means included the ideas of theory of separation of powers, and also interrelation between the legislature, executive, and the judiciary were incorporated in the constitutions, including our country also. And these three organs of government under various systems of rule, interrelated, at the same time separated in accordance with their respective constitutions. Okay, with the respective constitutions of the different countries, and as per the system of the rules, they are explain about the organs of government as per the needs and requirements of that individual countries. They are showing about in their constitution about the interrelated and the separation of powers. Okay, and like a organism, if you think about the government is like a organism, it also interdepends on of its various organs. Like our human body, we are depend upon the different organs. In the same way, government also interdepends of its various organs. Of all organs of government, now the important one, legislature, is the very first one, prominent one, most important of organ of the government. And of all the organs of government, legislature acquired the most prominent place. Okay, children. So legislature is the most important organ of the government. And in the democratic governments, legislature provides the equilibrium to thoughts, discussions, and different opinions. So equilibrium, equal status, equalness, equality are maintained in the thoughts of the people while making the laws. The legislature in the democratic form of government giving the importance to thoughts of the people and discussions based on the thoughts, and also taking the different opinions while making the laws. Okay, children. And also the people, the members of legislature, they represent the opinions and interest of different sections. So in the legislature, there are the members, and they member the that members are representing the opinions and interest of the different sections of the people of the society, or simply different sections of the country. Okay, children. And the method of representation to the legislature, okay, that is how the member should become the of legislature. That is the method of representation to the people in legislature varies from country to country. Okay, children. So how to become the member of the legislature, it is different from one country to another country. Okay, if you take the India, the country is divided into geographical constituencies and the method of territorial representation. Example, just to think about your member of constituency, member of parliament. Parliament is already shown to you. That is the legislature, law-making body. And if I had showed that Indian parliament to you, and think about, children, who is the member of parliament of your constituency, who are listening this class, and just imagine how he is become the member of the parliament of your constituency. And these are called the geographical constituencies. Okay. And through the method of territorial representation, the territorial means a land part. So based on the rules and regulations are there, how to divide the geographical constituencies. You can learn in the election system of India's lesson. Maybe that is in the second year. Okay. So based on the geographical constituencies, in the method of territorial representation, the members are electing, example in our India. And also there are the other methods of election like transferable vote system and list system. And this system is generally following the Western countries. Okay. And now you can see the legislature image from the outside. We are seeing the general parliament. Okay. And also now we are going to see the inside the parliament. Now we are going to see the inside the parliament. Okay. And in the parliament, there will be speaker, and then there will be the members of legislature. They will discuss, they share about their ideas and discuss, and then they become the got the ideas to finalize. And after discussing, it will be passed with some rules and regulations with the majority, and then it will become the law. Then while discussing, it is called as a bill. Then afterwards, it is become the law in the country. Then it will be implemented. Okay, this is the procedure will adopt in the house of parliament, that is in the specially houses of parliament, that is legislature. Okay, children. And now we are going to see the structure of the legislature. Okay. And structure of the legislature throughout the world is not uniform. Or among all the countries of the world, structure of the legislature is not uniform. The major problem in this context, that is in the structure of legislature, is whether to have unicameralism or bicameralism. So the major discussion, major problem of about the structure of the legislature, whether it has the unicameralism or bicameralism. So what is the unicameralism, bicameralism? Maybe I think it is a new words for you. Unicameralism means the legislature which has the single house. So unicameralism, if any countries adopted it, it has the single house. So in unicameralism, legislature consists of single house. On the other hand, in bicameralism, legislature is divided into two houses. On the other hand, bicameralism, unicameralism has the single house. And in bicameralism, it has the two houses. Legislature has divided into the two houses, that is upper house and lower house. And in the modern democratic countries, most of the countries adopted the bicameral legislature. In the modern democratic countries, the most of the countries of the world adopted the bicameral legislature. Some examples are given here. Some countries with the bicameral legislature, including in our India also. And first one, if you can see the England, House of Lords, House of Commons, and then Parliament. What are the House of Lords, House of Commons, Parliament? Sorry, saying simply, see the here, name of the country is given, England. The upper house is called as the House of Lords in England. Lower house is called as the House of Commons in England. And then legislature name of the legislature is Parliament. Okay, children, see the table. Okay, and if you take the United States of America, generally, simply we are using to call it USA, and upper house is Senate, lower house is House of Representatives, and the legislature is Congress. And now our wonderful India. Okay, India's upper house is called as the Rajya Sabha, lower house is called as the Lok Sabha, and Parliament is called, the name of legislature of India is Union Parliament. But generally, in simply, as habituated to us that we are using to call it is Parliament. And the former USSR, Soviet nationalities, Soviet Union, Supreme Soviet. Okay, and then Switzerland, upper house is Council of States, lower house is National Council, and name of the legislature is Federal Assembly. And Canada's upper house is Senate, and lower house is House of Commons, and name of the legislature is Parliament. Okay, and though it means there is a bicameral legislature has the two houses, upper house and lower house. Now we are going to see about the upper house. The structure of the upper house varies from country to country. Again here, the structure of the upper house is different from one country to another country. There are some simple principles are there which are following by the different countries of the world to form a upper house. Okay, children. And first principle is in some countries they are following the membership of upper house is hereditary. Hereditary is from generations to generations. After the father, there will be a son. Like that, from generation to generation on the hereditary basis. So some countries are following the membership of the upper houses on the hereditary basis. And some other countries following the members of upper houses appointed by executive for a specific period. Executives are appointing the members of the upper house in some countries. This is also second principle which is following by some different countries of the world. And third principle, here also some countries following that the members of the upper house are elected by the people. Some countries members of the upper house are elected by the people. And some countries members of the fourth principles of upper house are indirectly elected. Example, India. Okay, the members of upper house are electing by the people indirectly through the electoral college that you can also learn in the other topics. Okay, and now in the federal states, federal means where is the power is distribution at the various levels of government, that is central government and state government. Okay, in the federal states, power will be distributed and between the central and the state governments. That's why it is called as a federal states, and that is a federal countries. The members of the upper house are elected from the component states. So from the example, if we take the America is a federal state. Our India also federal state, but we are following at the same time unitary system also. That's why we are not giving the separate membership to our states. We are taking as a whole as a one India only. One Indian membership is given to all people, even in the political post also. Okay, children, right? Uh, Not for the separate for the state and not for the separate for the country. But in like in America, in the federal state, member of the upper house are elected from the different states, and these members are represented represent their respective states in the central government. And the structure now this is about the upper house, children. Okay, and you understand, children, about the upper house and their principles. And now we are going to see the structure of the lower house, and the lower house structure is similar in almost all the countries of the world. They are following the similar procedure in the structure of the lower house. Okay, and structure of the particulars of the lower house in some countries are showing in this table to you. Okay, again we are taking the England, because England is actually source of this democratic system form of governments. Okay, and also lower house and the upper house. Okay, England, the lower house is called as the House of Commons. The total number of the members in the House of Commons are 630, and their tenure they are electing for the period for the 5 years. And then lower house will be continued, that is the House of Commons will become the power for 5 years, but it can be dissolved. Dissolution method they are adopting. Okay, before the tenures of the 5 years, if there is a no confidential motion is introduced in the lower house against the government, then House of Commons will be dissolved. Okay, before the tenure. And the minimum age for contesting to become the member of the House of Commons in England is the 21 years of age. Okay, and next is the France. And France lower house is called as the National Assembly. Members are 627, and total tenure is 5 years. And it is also dissolved before the tenure, and minimum age is 23 years. And USA, the House of Representatives, lower house is the House of Representatives, and the total number of the members are 438, and tenure is 2 years, but it cannot be dissolved before the 2 years, not before the tenure. They will continue in the power for the period of 2 years. Minimum age is 25 years. Switzerland, lower house is National Council, and total number of members are 196. Tenure is 4 years, and they also it cannot be dissolved before the tenure, and minimum age is 21 years. Now our India, India's lower house is Lok Sabha. Total number of members are 543. We know about that. We learned in the 10th class, in 9th class or 8th class, that there are the 545 members are there. But sorry, saying here 543. Two out of 545, two are the Anglo-Indians who are nominating by the President of India. So generally elections will be conducting for the 543 seats. Okay, and tenure is 5 years. It can be dissolved before the tenure, and minimum age to contesting in the elections or to become the member of Lok Sabha is 25 years. Those who are completed 25 years, they are eligible to become the member of the Lok Sabha. Okay, and already told you unicameralism and bicameralism, children. And now we are going to see that. Okay, first one unicameralism, and then we'll go to the bicameralism by discussing. Okay, one by one. Okay, and there is a important important question is that whether legislature should have the single house or two houses. So it is the moot point. It is a very important for every country. whether legislature have the single house or two houses. Okay. And here some political philosophers, political scientists, or politicians are argue that they discussing that, or some you are arguing in favor of unicameralism. At the same time, some other political philosophers, or they are in the support or in the favor of bicameralism. Unicameralism is a single house. Bicameralism is two houses. So there was an argument between the different political scientists whether the country has the unicameralism or bicameralism, or single house or two houses. Okay, children. And bicameral legislature give the more scope to enact carefully. So, in the political scientist views, as per their thoughts, the bicameral legislature gives more scope to enact carefully, and the hasty decisions of the lower house will be checked by the upper house. So, this is the advantage of bicameralism, children. Whatever the decisions, even the hasty decision which is taken by the lower house will be checked by the upper house. That is happening in the bicameralism. That's why most of the political scientists, they are showing the favor of bicameralism than the unicameralism. Okay. And in unicameralism, the legislature may become tyrannical. That's why they are not choosing it. But some countries are following this method also. In unicameralism, legislature may become tyrannical. Hence, it is argued that bicameralism more beneficial. So when it is unicameralism become the tyrannical, argument is given the support to bicameralism, which will be more benefited for the states. That is nothing but countries. But there are the some advantages and disadvantages are there both in the bicameralism and unicameralism. Okay. And first we are going to see uh, advantages of bicameralism. Okay, children. Okay, the upper house can control the activity of the lower house. In bicameralism, the upper house, like example Rajya Sabha in India, control the activities of the Lok Sabha India, that is the lower house. And the hasty acts made in the lower house can be made more purposeful through long discussions in the both houses. Okay, that is the advantage of bicameralism. And also upper house give the additional security to legislation, that is to laws. And also there is a scope to provide representation to all sections in the upper house. So there is a scope to provide the facility to all the people represent through their member of parliaments in the upper house. And upper house provide the representation to intellectuals, intelligent people, and social servants, and their services will be used in the upper house because they are well experienced persons. Okay. And also upper house protect the liberty of the individuals and the interest of minorities. Now disadvantages of bicameralism: one house is sufficient to express the public opinion. Generally we're thinking about that for long discussions. Why we are thinking like that, why we are making the long discussions? Simple procedure enough now that will be happen in the unicameralism. Okay, unicameralism is simple and clear. The upper house cannot come in a way of sweeping the powers of lower house. So some scientists are believing that upper house is always abstracting the activities of the lower house, and that's why bicameralism leads to a delay in taking the decisions or to preparing the laws, and also more expenditure one. And in bike in bicameralism, in the upper house, there is an undemocratic method is providing the representation to special categories of people. Because example, if you take in our India, in the upper house to Rajya Sabha, 12 members are nominated by the President of India from the different fields without the election. That is like an undemocratic manner. So that will be happen in the upper house. And now we are going to learn about the powers and functions, very important topic. It may be the 10 marks question for annual exams for about the legislature powers and function. Okay, we know about that. If you are making anything, it has the some basic functions. Okay, to suppose if legislature, the basic function is to enact the laws as per the will of the people. And also legislature in the modern times discharging the different duties along with the formulating laws. So in the modern time, legislature performing the other duties besides the formulating laws. That other duties are administrative and judicial duties. Administrative and judicial duties. Okay. And also the role of legislature in the presidential form of government is limited. Okay, generally there are the two systems of government in the democracy. One is a presidential system of government, another is a parliamentary system of government. In the presidential system of government, uh, limitations are there for the legislature. Okay, but in the parliamentary system of government, it has the extensive powers. In the parliamentary system of government, it has the extensive powers. And now we are going to see the some functions which are performing by the legislature in our India as well as throughout the world. Okay, here functions of parliament is given. Parliament is nothing but the legislature of India. That is the powers and functions like legislative powers and functions, executive powers and functions, financial powers and functions, constituent powers and functions, judicial powers and functions, electoral powers and functions that we'll learn in the higher classes. And the next one is other powers and function. That is we are going to learn in this session. Okay, this is important 10 marks question, children. First one, legislative functions. Okay, children. First one is legislative functions. So the basic duty of the legislature is to frame the laws in the country. And then also it is the important duty of legislature to pass the laws as per the will of the people. Laws should be made as per the needs and requirements and interest of the people in the country. Okay. And also legislature has the powers, so not only to prepare the new laws and also to change the existing law or to revise the existing law or to cancel the laws which are outdated. Suppose example, if you take the 1950s, after the independence, laws were prepared for the country as per the needs of that time. And now we are in the 2020, our requirements are different from the past 70 years. So the some laws which are prepared at that time or maybe outdated, that can be revised or can be cancelled by the government. You know about that 370 article. The law was prepared in the 1950s and 60s, which is given the separate independence for Jammu and Kashmir. But it is no need for that. That's why at present, as per our Indian needs, that law is abolished, and Jammu and Kashmir also becomes a part of our country, which was separated for a limited period based on that article at that time. Okay, so like that, the outdated laws will be revised or can be cancelled. Okay, like that, so many are there, children. That is example is given to you. And also the legislature discuss extensively every bill before it becomes a law. So every law not becoming a simple way. There is a lot of discussions will be going on in the both houses. In bicameralism, the both houses, lower house and upper house, in both houses, lot of discussion will be takes place. After that, it will become the law. Okay. Now, next one is functions to control executive of the legislature. So in the parliamentary system of government, council of ministers are responsible to the legislature. If the legislature is not happy with the council of ministers, it may be dissolved also. Already told to you. If there is no confidence motion is introduced in the legislature, the government has to be resigned. It will be dissolved. Okay, that's why council of ministers are responsible to the legislature. And legislature exercises control on the council of ministers in dealing with the problems cropping up in the country. So controlling the council of ministers and also dealing with the problems which are arising in the country means as per the problems, laws will be prepared. Okay, and also the legislature pull down the government through the no confidence motion. That is I told to you, if it is arises in the country. Okay, and third one, financial functions. Okay, right? This is a very important function of the legislature in the democratic government. Okay, and legislature has to approve the income and expenditure under different heads shown in the budget. Okay, every March, every February, March, generally is calling it the budget month. At that time, legislature will approve the income and expenditure. Income means the revenue of the government, and expenditure, no, you know that how to it meet, and everything will be approved by the legislature in the parliament. And also, the legislature has to give, or in other words, imposing the new taxes and abolishing to abolish the already existing taxes can be can be performed by the government in the country with the consent or with the permission of the legislature. To introduce the new tax, the government has to approve the bill in the legislature, that is has to take the consent or permission of the legislature. To abolish also adopt the same procedure. Next one is judicial functions. The legislature, especially the upper house, performs some judicial functions. Okay, children, the legislature, especially the upper house, perform the judicial functions. In England, House of Lords, upper house, is the highest court of justice. Okay, and in our India and USA, the legislature is try to impeachment procedure you learn in the lower classes, or if you do not learn properly at there, you can are going to learn in this our uh, political science lessons about the impeachment process, that is how to remove the president, like that. Okay, so the impeachment process will be against the president, justice, chief justice, and other judges of Supreme Court and High Court will be followed in the legislature. It means to remove the president, or to remove the vice president, or to remove the any judge or chief justice of the Supreme Court or High Court. The discussion should be has to take place in the legislature. And if in the legislature it is proved the allegations which are made against the justices or the president, then he can be removed. It is impeachment process. Okay, and also sometimes the legislature inquired in the different allegations which are made against the government through different committees. Okay, and constitutional functions, and legislature has the right to attend the constitutions beside framing the laws. So constitution amendments will be takes place again in the legislature through the flexible and rigid methods that you can learn in the uh, next second year books. Okay, and also the legislature can amend the constitution as per the needs and requirements of the country. Okay, and some other functions, the legislature has some more functions like accepting or rejecting the ordinances declared by the government. Okay, children, there are the some other functions. Okay, legislature performing the some more functions, accepting and rejecting the ordinances. When the parliament sessions are not there, if the laws are making, example Nirbhaya Act, I think everyone remember it. Okay, it was a sensational some years back. Okay, so where there is a parliament was not there, immediately central government brought the ordinance, brought the order, that is to protect the women through this Nirbhaya Act. Okay, and after again this ordinance, when the parliament sessions are conducted, then it will be approve or reject. And also in other functions, legislature electing the speaker, and also appoint the different committees to inquire in the matters of the lapses of government, and also formulate the rules and procedures of the legislature business. Okay, and declining the importance of the legislature. Nowadays, legislature importance is decreasing. Why it is decreasing? That we are going to see here. Political thinkers opine that political thinkers are thinking that legislature, which has wide powers theoretically in all the books, in all the treatises of political science, legislature has the vast powers, but it is losing the significancy because for the different reasons. The That reasons we are going to learn one by one. The executive acquired a lot of constitutional and legal powers to achieve comprehensive socio-economic development. So compared to the legislature, executives acquired the lot of constitutional powers that in our executive branch, we can learn about that, how it is acquired the more powers than the legislature. Okay, and because of that reason, legislature losing its significance. Okay, children. And second one, the legislature has to depend upon the executive. Law making is not enough. It should be implemented. Legislature work is only to make the law. And who has to implement it throughout the country? That is the executive. Okay, that's why legislature depend upon the executive, where the executive does not possess even the fundamental capacity. Okay, children. And since the highest political offices, political posts are filled in through the direct elections. So highest political post in nowadays in the modern democratic countries are filling through the direct elections. And in that way, government gained the importance by directly influencing the people. Okay, government gained the importance by directly because they are highest political offices are elected by the people, and because of that, these highest offices influencing the people very easily. Okay, due to this reason, legislature losing its importance. Okay, and also there is a direct relations with the people. Government has the direct relations to the people, because already in the before point we learned that political offices post are directly filling through the direct elections. Because of that reason, these political offices have the direct relations with the people and lessening the importance of the legislature. This is also one reason. Okay, and the legislature, listen carefully here, it is an important 2 marks question. Okay, the legislature passes a law in a skeleton form and delegate powers to executive to fill in the details of it in shape of rules and regulations. Okay, in the skeleton form, the legislature simply passes the law or making the law. In our words, simply legislature making the law in a skeleton form, but implementing procedures, methods, or giving methods, that is the powers of implementing and follows the procedures to implement is giving to the executive. Because of that reasons, the power of the legislature is lessening or decreasing. And when the power of the implementing the laws given to the executive is called as a delegated legislation. Called as a delegated legislation. So you can imagine that how the executives acquire the more power than the legislature in implementing the laws. Okay, and then sixth one, the power used by the executive to implement the laws and welfare schemes. So power is given to the executive to implement the plans and laws and also welfare programs for the needs and requirements of the people. And in the modern times, there is a lack of powerful opposition. At present in India, you are seeing that our existing government at present, NDA government, has got the lot of majority and there is no powerful opposition. Because of that reason, legislature losing its significance. Simply laws are making because of the no powerful opposition. Our better example, our wonderful India. Okay, and less duration of the sessions of the parliament. And parliament sessions are conducting twice or thrice in a year. There should be no 6 months gap between the any two sessions. So that's why generally winter season, summer season, rainy season, sessions are conducting. Duration very less, approximately 15 days. So in these 15 days, how they are discussing, because of that reason also, legislature losing its importance. And also irresponsible behavior of the ruling party. Irresponsible behavior of the ruling party. This is also one more reason for the losing the importance of legislature in the modern democratic countries. Okay, children. And this is the lesson. And now we are going to see the summary, what we learn in this chapter. What we learn in this chapter. Okay, as we discussed the earlier, it has the 3 organs. In this chapter, we learn about the 3 organs of government. Okay, and among the 3 organs of the government, we discussed about the legislature part. Okay, so in this chapter, we learn about the 3 organs of government is given, and in detail, we learn about the legislature part. In the coming sessions, we will learn about the other parts of government. But in this session, in this lesson, in today's lesson, we learn about the legislature part. Okay, children. And also, we covered about the theory of separation of powers. So how the powers were distributed among these 3 organs of the government, and what are the theories proposed by the different political philosophers. And we learn about the Montesquieu theory and how he, in balanced manner, distributed the or shows the separation of powers between these 3 organs of government. Okay, and under in the legislature, we learn or we covered the structure and powers and functions of the legislature. So we learn about the structure of the legislature. In the legislature structure, we learn about the upper house and lower house, upper house structure and lower house structure. And also we learn about the some functions of the powers and functions of the legislature. Okay, children, we learn about some powers and functions of the legislature. And also we have discussed about the unicameralism and bicameralism. Once again, unicameralism means the country should have a single house. Okay, that is a camera. The country which have a single house is called as a unicameralism. The countries which have the 2 houses are called as a bicameralism. The country which has the 2 houses is called as a bicameralism. So this is also we discussed about that. And not only this, we also discussed about the how the legislature losing its significance, lost its importance in the modern democratic countries. Okay, children. And time to answer. That is in our simple words, assignment. Okay, and assignment is in the simple words. First one is explain the structure of bicameralism and the functions of the legislature. Okay, explain the structure of bicameralism and functions of the legislature. It is a very important NMR question. As I am a political science teacher, I'm expecting this question in forthcoming annual examination in almost April, May 2021. Okay, and also second question: what are the reasons for the declining of the significance of legislature? Okay, this is a 5 marks question, and then a 2 marks question: how many organs of government are there? What are they? So you can prepare these questions and write down in the notes. Okay, and prepare well. Okay, children. Thank you, children. Okay, thank you to all, and my sincere thanks for giving this wonderful opportunity to our additional director Garu, additional director Satyanarayana Garu, and JD Rajiv Garu, and webinar team, and special thanks to my subject coordinator Ramprasad Garu, and very, very special thanks to my wonderful principal, Dr. Gopal Reddy, and I don't know the other members of webinar team. Once again, I'm thanks to all the webinar team members. Thank you, sir. It is over to our subject coordinator, Ramprasad Garu.
Good afternoon, HAFEEZ garu. Once again, it was a wonderful session. I have been monitoring that. So
Thank
good.
you, sir.
Hope
Thank
the
you,
students make optimum use of your session. and your next session will be started later. So
Okay,
it was a wonderful session, and actually it was quite clear. So not so sophisticated language and means very difficult words are used. It's very good. I think the students followed that lesson. So thank you very much for the session, and good luck. And we look forward for the next session.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you, sir.